All right, my friends, how are you today? Happy Monday. Monday. Happy Monday, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you, my friends. Yes, we've got the moon moving into Libra early in the morning, about 4 a.m. my time, Eastern Daylight Time. It's getting warm in Detroit here. It's actually kind of nice, right? It was snowing last week. Weather's out of control. When it rains, it pours, right? Anyway. So, the moon's moving into Libra early in the morning, which means what? Early in the morning, we're going to have the moon square the nodes, okay? It's fuzzy in my face. We're going to have the moon squaring the nodes, all right? Moon is also going to oppose Chiron in Aries, all right? This is important. At the very end of yesterday's video, on Sunday's video, I was talking about relationships. This is huge. This plays into that tremendously in every way. All right. So the moon in Libra is about balancing our emotions with self and the other. Okay. It's all about the other. Have we been giving as much as we've been receiving? Are we putting out what we're getting back? Okay. If we've been in a place of victim, if we've been in a place of not enough, which some of these, I talk about this stuff, some of us are dealing with this, like I'm not good enough, I'm not, handsome or pretty enough or smart enough or capable enough. If we're dealing with this not enough stuff, we can suck in that energy. All right. We can be pulling in the energy from the outside source, looking for validation, looking for the boost, which is certainly nice. It's nice to know, hey, you're appreciated. Hey, I love you. Hey, I see the hard work you're doing. Hey, those are wonderful things when we receive them. As long as we're not always focused on receiving them in order for us to do the work that we need to do. Right? So, meaning in this big thing here, if we're receiving the, hey, you're good, hey, you're awesome, hey, I appreciate you, because we're coming from a place of lacking, that we're not enough, then odds are good that we are not giving that same energy back to the other. Right? Connecting the dots now. Okay, so we have to make sure emotionally, our emotional need right now is to acknowledge, to appreciate the balance and the beauty of the others, the other reflection, the reflection of myself that comes in the form of you, right? The reflection of myself that comes in the form of the other, my boss, my coworker, my lover, my partner, my housemate, my best friend, any of the above. So let me go to this chart here. Now, as I was talking about the moon squaring the nodes, okay, this plays in hugely where we're talking about yesterday at the very end of the yesterday's astrology video. Understanding our relationships, letting go of the past karma, the past blockages that are keeping us from obtaining where we want to go in the future. Now, we still have that septile here from Mars to the South Node. Mars is saying, look, we got to be focused on the future. If we're constantly hung up on the things that happened in the past, that doesn't mean that the past people can't come with us to this new future. This is extremely important. In a world where people are, this is something, it was Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, all right, these guys got together 100 years or so ago. And this is really important. All right, we had blacksmiths. Okay, if the Singer sewing machine was the most complicated piece of machinery in the world, imagine that. Okay, 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago. Either way, the most complicated piece of machinery that existed at that time. And if one of your parts broke, you had to have a blacksmith come and create a part specifically for you, for your machine. Then Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, these people got together and they said, well, let's make the replaceable part. Okay, the replaceable part. Now this took this is really important with today's astrology and what's going on and where we're headed in the month of May. As well, on this note, the monthlies are coming. I apologize. Thank you for who has reached out about that. The monthly horoscopes are certainly coming. There's been some projects that have been taking a lot of my time here at the end of April, beginning of May, but I will certainly put them out for everybody this week. Okay. Now, where we're headed this month, where we're headed in general. So these big heavy hitters in the world at this time got together and said, let's make replaceable parts. So we created the metric system. We created the measurement tools that we have today that are standards. Okay. Then with Henry Ford, probably the most influential person in the 21st century, said, let's create replaceable people. Assembly lines. And I'm going to teach you how to do this job. It took the power away from the individual, you and me. Okay, it takes power away and says, look, I'm going to tell you how to do this job. You push this button, you're a cashier. You push this button, you do this, you do this. And if you can't perform these tasks, I'm going to replace you and I'm going to teach somebody else that can. Because if I can teach you how to do your job, you're less value, period. You're of less value. So we have this replaceable person. Okay, and the more that this replaceable person has come into existence, this concept, the replaceable person concept has come into existence, the more we view people that way. You did me wrong, you did me dirty, cutting you out of my life and I'm moving on. It's like, wow. This might be the history that we've seen with certain parts of life. This is not humanity on where we're headed and where we're going. It's us taking our power back, saying, I, the individual, have this great power. I, the individual, you don't have to tell me how to do this job. I'm a, creative thinking individual that can move forward and create what I need to create, right? So this is like, for one, this quarantine time that we have for those of us that are, without jobs, this is a great opportunity to dive back into what makes you special, what makes you unique. Because once the replaceable person became into existence, it took away our unique creative ways of supplying work for the world, right? And now it's just working for the man, working for this company or whatever it is, and hoping, that we can retire. It's like, no one's retiring. You know what I mean? Like where we're at right now, no one's retiring. Anyway, so we have this concept of replaceable people. Everything is replaceable, right? All of this energy that we're being shown here is like, no, we're not. We're not replaceable. You might have situations in the past between individuals that were not the most advantageous. They weren't the most, you didn't extract the best out of each other during a certain time. But that can go with being said about self. You live with yourself every single day, right? You live with yourself every single day. If you were alone, there's going to be days where you're your hero. There's days where you're rooting for yourself. There's days where you're down on yourself. There's days where you challenge yourself. There's days where you say, I want better for myself. There's days where we have a mental tug of war in our heads. Okay. The same thing can be expected when we are working with other people. And since we have the moon for the next 2.5 days in the sign of other people, this is extremely important for us to come to the realization, especially we have, this Scorpio full moon coming up on the 7th. We'll put a video out about that shortly. How are we viewing the other? They're a reflection of ourselves, right? The other is a reflection of us. The other is a reflection of my highest my greatest strengths, my greatest weaknesses, right? So just as ourselves are going to have issues with ourselves on a daily basis, we're going to, again, be our own cheerleader, like, yeah, Aaron, you did good today. Or, Aaron, you messed up here, and here, and you should have done this, and this, and you didn't. So when we hold ourselves accountable for these things, so does the other person in our lives. So when we get upset with somebody else, when they're telling us that we didn't do this or did this wrong or whatever it may be, this is when we get into that combativeness and we want to cut people out. And it's a terrible thing. It's a really terrible thing, and how we just cut people out of our lives. Replaceable. All of this energy is saying we're not replaceable human beings. There's situations that we all deal with. There's situations where we're not at our peak, we're not at our best, where we didn't invoke the best from our partner, where we didn't invoke the best from our employee, where we didn't present the best to our boss, where we didn't present our best self, right? And we forgive ourselves, and we hope for forgiveness from another, That's what a lot of this energy is dealing with right now. And with Chiron being, again, in Aries, it's like, I have to heal the wounds of myself. If I don't heal these wounds of myself, the next relationship I'm going to get into, the next boss I'm going to work for, I'm going to constantly be feeling I'm not good enough. Or they're not acknowledging my work, and it really hurts that they're not acknowledging how much I'm putting into something, right? So this is a big heal me day. This is a big lesson, karmic learning, right? And we're staying safe. Staying safe. That's the other part of the North Node. The positive side, once again, is compassion and empathy toward this, whatever that we're letting go of. Be compassionate and empathetic, how we respond to others. Sometimes we're responding out of our own insecurities, which isn't the best for ourselves. And if we can take the time to acknowledge that somebody responded to us through their insecurity, we don't have to respond and react with anger when they're angry because they feel insecure. We can be compassionate. We can be empathetic to their space, but we have to be willing ourselves to go there, to go to that place of empathy, right? And as you see here, we also have the moon creating quincunxes, or quintiles. This is a creative way, creative way to deal with issues. So when we're dealing with the other person, we're also dealing, we're having breakthroughs, we're having communication. We have Mercury and the Sun coming into a conjunction today. All right. So that happens right there at 6 p.m. at night. Okay. So it's just like the ego needs to express. The ego needs to express. And we have to express to the other person. What is going on in our lives? Who is it that we have to express to? Chiron still creating that creative energy to Jupiter and to Pluto, saying like, look, we can change whatever needs to be changed. But often what happens in this like world of replaceable people and it's like we hire an employee. We'll just go with employee right now. We hire an employee and to do this job, and either they're doing good, and then they get 3 little strikes, and now we replace them, and we hire a new person, and we train that new person. And that's like the same thing. These are repetitive loops. We're just training new people, getting rid of them, training new people, getting rid of them, till they fit in our little box. Okay, this is saying we have to shift our perspective, not put people in little boxes, but apply, where is your best traits? Where are you good at? What are you doing? So this can happen when we are constantly cycling through. It's just we're retraining and retraining and retraining instead of developing real, honest, authentic relationships. Mic drop. That's what it's about. It's about creating real, authentic relationships. And who doesn't want authentic relationships, And if we're dealing with somebody, a family member or someone that there's, again, that beach ball in between. It's like, hey, I just want to communicate with you on this. And then maybe you think that I'm trying to come at this way. It's not my job to interpret how you determine the words that I'm going to say. It's not my job to determine how you interpret what I'm going to say. It's only my job to be authentic in saying and doing and trying to clear the air, trying to remove this inflated air. That inflated air in the beach ball is usually a concept from the mind of the other getting in the way of the true vision, the real reality, right? It's something obscuring reality. Okay. So it's time to deflate this beach ball. It's time to open up, time to communicate, time to really appreciate the other people in our lives, who's been there for us, who's got our backs, who's in our corner. Okay, and if there's somebody that's been in your life, they've been in your corner, but yet there's some sort of friction. Okay, the energy that this astrology is telling us is that friction can be dissolved, not just swept under the rug. The Scorpio full moon's gonna highlight this. Not just swept under the rug, but truly dissolve that. And the only way that we can do this is through communication. You know, and with the energy today, with Mercury connected to the sun, you know, still a slight conjunction over there to Uranus, as well as this quintile to the moon. In this is like, okay, this is about people. We have to care about our people. We have to communicate. We have to get over that big, you know, stump or log in our throat that's getting us caught up. And I just want to say this, but I can't. You know, oh, I've gone verklempt. Talks amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. All right. That's me. Old Mike Myers, Saturday Night Live. Remember that? Chickpeas. Okay, go. All right, friends. That's enough of me today. Have a happy Monday. Happy balancing our emotions. Inner world, outer world, self, others, self, others, self, others, self, others. And if we're giving to ourselves, and if we're caring about ourselves and loving ourselves, and our cup is full, it's very easy to care for and spill over to the other and be joyous with them as well. Have a happy Monday, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow.